All right, let's reiterate here. Morning, we'll start the meeting at 10:03. And everybody online, welcome back. Obviously, you can tell that Greg's not here. We got it sorted out, I think. Things started. Do we have any guests joining us this morning? No guests. Excellent. All right, moving right along.
The stranger appears.
All right, you're going to be sitting right there on top of the mic, so let's keep the conversation down. He did not leave me any notes or instructions or anything. So today. We have a picture down here which was donated and go to whoever cherishes it the most. Cash from here. Well, whatever. Yeah, thanks. So your intention is just to
I have it at the house, but obviously I'm not a young fella, and my passing, there's nobody in the house that I think would benefit from it. Not like you guys. So here it is. It depicts the old British tea flipper, the thermophilate. Whatever you want to do with it, hang it on the wall, put it up for auction, whatever.
All right, very good. So it'll just sit there, and hopefully it'll walk out with meeting. The correction is the last month. Then, okay.
There's a crying towel there for you.
Alrighty, no corrections. Rylan, what have you got to say?
Yeah, the treasurer's report. We started the month off with $5,074.91. I collected $34 in dues. In disbursements, we purchased a new HP laptop computer for $953.99. Purchase of AV equipment and computer accessories, which were mics, cameras, cords, SD drive backup. That was $440.77. Total disbursements, $1,394.76, leading an end of the month balance of $3,714.50. And I'll start collecting dues next month. Some people have paid me this month, which is fine, but next month I'll be sending out an email with the coming year.
All right, good. Comment from the folks online. Is the volume good? Still hear us clearly? Anybody?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, good. Alrighty. Greg's not here, so there's no webmaster. How long for business? Yeah.
And have the new form. Yeah. Right. 3X and 4X currently have available. Okay. I have the new order form for the shirts and hats. There's one on the website. Ryland has one, and hats are still $20. 3X and 4X shirts aren't available at the time due to fire issues. You can get the jerseys with the long sleeve now, which we couldn't get before. Get those small and 2 extra large at $50. 2X is $35. They've got the short sleeve shirts that I'm wearing, navy blue and black with the logo. And small projection marks, 5X, 4X, short sleeve. you provide your own hat, done, or your own shirt, doing putting the logo on it, $15. And if you're gonna write a check, you may be able to do it, but that's all. Anybody wants to order a hat, shirt, don't want to forget you. Okay. You can go ahead and see me, and we'll get them going. And because get them now before into May, because the middle of June, that won't be available.
I swear.
Unless somebody wants to pick up.
All right, thanks, Tim. Any other old business? What did we talk about last time? It was,
I thought it was tools in the taco stand.
I think the elections were, was that settled? Okay.
I will cast ballot from Slate Fall.
I will second that. All in favor of the recurrence?
No vote. There's no vote.
There is no vote, okay. Very good. Come back soon. Okay, yeah, how about the IPMS?
Okay, IPMS Richmond, they have a meeting, it's the second Monday of each month, and so it'll be on Monday. I plan on attending. I do know that the show is for the last Saturday in February. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but it's last Saturday. We will have our tables like past, is what I've been told. They have changed some rules. The new rule is you can only enter one model in each class that you enter in. So a lot of the plastic guys would bring several models and enter it in the class, but now it's limited to one model. They're trying to keep the number of entries down. It's just one thing. The quality is still the quality. As far as I know, the show will open around 8:30 on Saturday morning. I have asked them to set up. As far as the show goes, we should still have our things.
Who's moderating?
Should be a good show.
Who's moderating? We can't hear you.
Need to speak up, Riley.
Is it the volume
It's
or is it sound off?
it's fidelity and it's breaking up.
Okay. Yeah, there's there maybe. What closer to it?
Okay, yeah, it's, I guess, we almost need a mic at the podium.
Yeah.
That's what we got. But yeah, the IPMS Richmond is a show that's been going on for several years for y'all online guys. Ship Model Society has been involved since about, I think, 2012. And normally it's our club and the Washington Club. And for years we sponsored all the ship modeling classes, and we alternated with the best in the maritime awards. Am I coming through okay now?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So it's a show that we've been participating in, and in the past we've had real good participation from our club there. Now the awards, the way they go, the awards that are handed out, you pretty much can count on Gene Berger taking the best maritime award.
Imagine that.
Yeah, it's, but we will be judging, Gene is the head maritime judge. I think there are 7 classes of maritime, anything from the plastic, the steel navy to the, they have like 1 350th and above and 1 350th and below. And I think they have a submarine class, sail class, wooden ship models of all types. They have powered and non-powered, just your typical IPMS categories. And it's a real good show. The main thing are the vendors. I mean, it's just, they had over 100 tables that they sold for the show. And they got vendors that come in from all over the East Coast that put their wares out, whether it's kits, and occasionally you can find some good deals on wooden ship models kits in there, but like Blue Jacket and model shipway kits, things like that. But the other thing are the supplies, lots of paints, glues, detailed 3D is starting to pick up, and it's just amazing to see the work that these plastic modelers do. The Gundam is the biggest class that's been, the popularity of that has just grown, and we've seen that come in from a few entries to, some of the classes in the past had tables full of entries for the Gundam. But, and if y'all don't know what that is, it's like the monster type pictures, the fictional characters, look like Transformers, things like that. But they also have some seminars for the younger modelers, like build a model thing. Well, if you come in, your kid can build a model. But it's a nice show. But we come, and a couple of our members will have tables to sell things, and it's real good. And usually the Washington Ship Model Society, when they come, they're constantly working on something. I mean, they bring their kits and more of a how-to on ship modeling. But it's a good day, and we will be well represented there in entries and in participation in judging and awards and things like that. So looking forward to it.
This is over at that raceway.
At the Richmond Raceway. It used to be where the State Fair of Virginia was held, but now it's all where the NASCAR track is. Like I said, it starts at 8:30. That's when the gates open for the public, and the judging starts at the last entry is at 12:30. Then judging starts then, and around 4:30 they're shooting for the award presentation, and you have to be there by 6. So all the tables have to be broke down and all. But we usually make a day of it. And it's just a fun time. So,
It's a fun time.
yeah.
I'll be there with it.
Good. Yes. What?
What are they gonna do?
We are, yes, Gene is the head judge, and they will need help judging, which is fun to do. You really get a chance to look at the models in detail, and it. Well, I think they just need to open a class up, Gene Berger only, and leave something for all the rest of us. But it's, like I said, it's a fun time. So, any other questions? And I'll know more when I send out an email next week.
You got some good bargains there too at the vendors.
Oh yeah, the vendors. Yeah, you can pick up. If you're into plastic, they got everything from. And really a lot of the old kits I remember as a kid, and some people specialize in selling the old kits, but in the past we've assisted in helping vendors set up, but this time they say they don't need our help, so I don't know how it's all taken care of, but find out more on Monday night.
Your question is, do you know where the banner is? Anyone know where the banner? Understand? I hate it. I thought somebody. Okay, well, I'll check that on my way out. Yeah, that's usually what we need. We need banner, and I can bring in some Navy stuff from what we have in the past. And rest of us just encourage you to show up and bring something to put on the table and enjoy yourself. It's a good time.
And the other thing is, if you can't stay all day, just, you know, if you can come for a couple of hours, I tell you, it's well worth the drive to Richmond to see it. It's a good show. Last Saturday, February. 6.
Yeah, it's always the last Saturday. All right, thanks, Ryland. Any other old business that we need to hash out? Oh, Rob.
Minutes, address the Titanic situation. Titanic Legos situation, that was not a problem then. So it kind of like minutes to be corrected to eliminate that, because as I said last meeting, it's done. It was never going to be in the shop. And if any of you have been in and watched this guy work on the Legos Titanic, he's not just a volunteer. He's on a board for Lego, some consumer board. He paid $60 for the Titanic when he was reimbursed. But it's a remarkable piece of work. It's not modeling as we define it, but it's a remarkable piece of work. Where is it? Well, it's hidden most of the time. I don't want you to broadcast this, but do you know where the Queen Elizabeth is? In the America's Cup Gallery? Does anybody know where the Queen Elizabeth is? It's a 30-some foot model, and it's on a wall behind the wall. So that wall that was put up for the America's Cup, behind that wall is where the Titanic is being kept. While he's working on it, however, it's in the next gallery after the model shop, kind of in the corner.
They don't let that thing out, it's gonna be the ground home model. All righty, any other new business?
For the month of March, I'll be collecting dues, and I'm going to offer the online payment option again. So I'll be sending an email out, and with the online payment option, you PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, and basically you'll be paying me, and then I'll be paying the club for the dues that I collect online. So I'll send that email out next month. And also, I was going to mention that Land's End shirts, which are the traditional style logo, unlike the 50th anniversary type logo that we've got right now, they've got another sale on, and this one is 25% off with no minimum. So if anybody wants a traditional shirt or hat, let me know. This good prices. Shirts from about $21.95 for short sleeve, and the hats run about $13.95, $16.95.
Jim, question about those shirts that y'all offer. Do they have pockets on them, or are they just plain shirts?
It's bigger.
Because I'm new, I don't recall what the dues are. $24.
It'll be the email. Some people have already paid throughout the year. I've collected, people have paid. Sometimes they'll wind up paying, 2 to 4 years in advance. And what I've been doing is I'll just send an email out to those that owe dues. In the email, it's only 2 types of dues. I send out associate memberships. They'll be on one email, and that's $18 annually. Then the regular member full voting powers, that's $24 a year, and so they'll be in another email. But like I said, I will offer online options, and if you pay by PayPal, please do it from friends and family, because I had 8 last year that did it for services, and I got hit for $1 and something in fees. Plus, they wanted the shipping information as to when I'm going to ship the item to them. So if you do friends and family, it takes a day longer, which is no big deal, but there are no fees on that. It'll all be in the email.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
I have two items, Tom Ruggiero. One item is that, wanted to mention that the Northeast Joint Clubs is April 30th this year. And that the registration is open. And you can get to it on the Philadelphia Ship Model Society website. Ryland always attends, so you could ask Ryland. It's a great day. We usually have, this year, Philadelphia Club is sponsoring it. Gene was there last time as well. We usually have at least about 50 to 60 models, and usually about 100 attendees. It's a great day. And we also have an after lunch speaker and vendors, not to the extent of an IPMS show, but we do have vendors as well. So I just wanted to mention that. And the second thing is I wanted to make you all aware of, you folks are an NRG chapter club, and I'm in charge of chapter clubs at Nautical Research Guild. And I wanted to mention to you, if any of you are Nautical Research Guild members, you all know that there's a secretary's newsletter that goes out every month via email. And what we're reinstituting is announcements from the NRG chapters. So if you folks have anything that you want to announce, upcoming exhibits, soliciting new membership, any of that, just send me an email and I'll get it done. If you want help editing it, or you don't know exactly how you want to package it, no problem, I'll take care of that. But if there's some announcement that you want to pass on, and we're going to be doing this every month, and we have 10 clubs that hold NRG Nautical Research Guild charters. So we'll do any and all clubs. You just send us the information, send me the information, and I'll get it in the secretary newsletter. And
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Tom is an NRG director, so Nautical Research Guild. He's our source for NRG news.
All right. Anybody else online have any comments? Okay, we'll move on to the show and tell. Hey, no.
Definitely.
Let's go ahead and start the show and tell. I'll ask the here. Move center table, shot the camera, kind of focused in on you and something. Whoever wants to get all up. How you highlight that? This speaker view. This. It comes to the top. Okay, what? This. I want more. Concentrate this one.
Yeah, right. You can't just fetch it a kick anymore.
Yeah, darn it.
All right.
All right, let's go ahead and start.
All right, this is the Chesapeake Bay skipjack. It was a kit number 971, and it was from Midwest Product Company Incorporated in Indianapolis, or Indiana, in Hobart, Indiana, excuse me. And they're mostly with a lot of wood for airplanes. I did not know that, but I got the kit from the auction. The length of this boat is 21 inches. Its height is 20 and a half. The beam is 4 and a half. Scale is 7/16 equals 1 inch. And 1 foot. Yeah. Anyway, Tim and John finally told me to start doing stuff with paint, and I've never done it. I'm just a novice with it, but it was fun. But arthritis in my hands and stuff, I have to slow down quite a bit. But it was fun to make. It was absolutely wonderful. The instructions on how to do that. It had 82 pages, and it was everything on it. It was great. The only thing is that I had a lot of fun with it, and hopefully that I can do better next time.
That's really good.
All right, thanks, Patrick. All right, who's next? There we go. I don't know. They should be able to see it online. If you want, okay, sure.
So this is the Gunboat Philadelphia 124, or like 1 foot equals half an inch, I think. So this is from Model Shipways, and it's the represents the gunboat that was one of the gunboats that was sunk at the Battle of Valcour Island in 1776, and so it was kind of halfway completed last month when I showed it to you. It didn't have the whales, the gun whales finished, but I was able to finish it within the past month, and I even the little dory in the same scale is also a Model Shipways kit. It's the first kit that I put together last year, and I just figured that it would kind of look good sitting up on top of the railing there. So I don't think that's actually accurate as to how they did it, but I just thought it would look good. And I cut a couple corners on the rigging. It's not 100% accurate, but I dare say it's all functional. So, and I would say that if you were going to build this kit, I would upgrade with some better rigging, because the stuff that they provide you in the kit doesn't look very good. Like this anchor rope is a little bit, it looks a little bit more like thread and not like rope. So there. And also I've got some like zinc plated BBs, like just little, regular BBs that you put in a BB gun for the cannonballs, and I put those in either some brass black or some soldering black or something like that, and that's what gave it that color. So all the metal here is not painted; it's blackened, which gave a really good. And the anchors I got from my Vossa kit, which I'm also building, and I'll pick some other anchors when I finally finish Vossa. So there we go.
All right,
Coming along good. I like it.
Yeah. Do a couple of close-ups of it.
You realize that that ship now sits on the 3rd floor of the American History Museum of the Smithsonian.
I had
It was brought up out of the water about 130 years after it went down during that battle. And when they were building the building for the American History Museum, they left the 3rd floor wall open so they could bring this 60-foot long boat and slide it in, and that's where you'll see it now, with the mast laying beside it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'd see pictures. Love to go see it.
All right, thank you.
She looks good. Nice job.
Yes, thank you, Joe Lorenzo, because he gave pictures a couple months ago of this, so I was able to take good advantage of it. Thank you. All right, the next victim. All right.
Yes. This is my, the result of some interest I took in the America's Cup. And this is the America. And it was over the past year and a half or so that I did this, so I forgot whose kit this was, albeit I'm tempted to believe that this is Artesiana, I can't say it, Latina. When I came to the point of doing the sales, I discovered they had some, but that didn't really have enough to do the tricks. I had to add some from other sources. I decided, though, to make it my own with this edition of the representation of the America's Cup itself. So subsequent to this, I restored an America's Cup winner from the 1930s called the Ranger, and then I built a one from the 1950s. Right now I can't remember the name, and I gave that to my daughter. So you know, the things at my house don't build up to the extent that my wife is anxious for me to go away. One other thing I want to show you all is something I just got within the past month or so from Micromark. This is what's called a small tool set, and it is actually wireless in the sense that you can recharge the battery in the main unit, and then you've got all kinds of bits and drills and stuff in it. It was $39, and I thought maybe you guys ought to be aware of it. It's really superb.
All right. Thank you. Who's next? Come on.
I think this is the best part of the model right here. I'll turn it around.
Yeah.
I don't know how we display this, but is that okay?
Well, that's terrific. Right there.
Okay. You have seen the larger model of this a couple of years ago, maybe longer the way time flies. But I saw the Matunga in a model shipway magazine, and I liked it. It was on the shipway, and it was I go into a lot of detail again. You've heard it before. It was built in 1916 by Darling, down in Darling's Railway as a drudge boat. So I was going to build this model, and I started out with a half hull because it's scratch built, and I've never built a drudge boat before or a bar boat. So I built this as a half model just to kind of get a feel for the lines and how it would look. And it's not a lot of detail to it, but it's very general in a sense. But it solved what I needed to solve about being confident of how the hull was going to look with the lines and all, without having any specifics on it. This year when I finished the hull, I decided I would just go ahead and finish up the cabins and detail everything on it. It's not real detail, but what happened was it ended up that I did build it like this, and I decided I would donate it to the church. Our church has a bazaar every year, so I went on and finished it and donated it to the church. And after that, I went on and built the half-scale model that you all saw a couple of years ago. Interesting thing about this, though, without getting into a lot of detail, is the couple that bought it came to me. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they were moving, and they dropped something on it, and that has a vent hole. So I offered to build them a new case at no charge, and they didn't want me to do that. So I said, how about if I built just a little shelf to go on the top? That would be wonderful because I can see where they've been setting things on the plexiglass. So I built that, and I was going to take that back to them today, and just timely with the meeting here, I thought I'd drop it by and show you all that. I took a half model and made it into a full, larger scale model, and that was the intent here. But one of the amusing things was at church one day, not long after I built this, I had a lady come to me and said, what did you do with the other half of that boat so-and-so got? It kind of caught me unaware. I said, half of the, and then it became aware. And I guess as a novice, you would think, you build a full model and you cut it in two. But I explained to her how we use half models, and that type of thing. So that was pretty interesting. So that's it.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Oh, one thing. One thing I did on this, when I first started building these, I used a label maker to make the labels. I don't do any of that anymore. Now I get all of my graphics done at a company in Florida. It does a tremendous job. But I use a label maker, and if you look, you can see where it's turning yellow. I left it because it was original to what I built, and if they wanted to change it, I'd be glad to do it. But be cautious if you use a label maker with white background.
Was the dredger challenge? Looks like.
No, I did the dredges on there, Ron.
Yes. Well, was that a challenge to build?
No, not really.
Because I brought in 3 or 4 attempts that I've made. I'm not good with solder. So if
you would have built those.
well, I'm building one for a museum in the north now.
Yeah.
Building Deborah Rose, just a regular dredge boat, and I'm trying to make the dredges that I've gone through 3 in a.
Well,
we'll get together to break.
I'll show you how I did it. I made a fixture to hold it, and with the teeth, you have to have great patience, but you put heat sinks in it. I take tissue paper and I'll solder a tooth in place, and then wrap it in wet tissue paper, and that acts as a heat sink. So when I put the next tooth in, that the solder will take without the other one falling off.
I've got the comb at the dollar store.
There you go. You got it. Improvise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a solid, like a bread and butter construction, or a plank?
No, that's a solid block.
Okay.
That's a solid white pine block.
You see the rotunda on there that was built by Jack Bobbitt?
I did. Ron showed it to me last meeting. That is one beautiful. I wish I could build something like that.
Yes, his is weathered, but yours.
I told Ron last month, my wife, some of the Chesapeake Bay boats I build them like they came off the railway. They're pretty finished. My wife keeps telling me they don't look like the real thing out on the water. Her dad was a waterman, so even though his boat was pristine, it's got the rust and the weathering and all on it. She said, you need to weather one. You put so much work into these, I can't bring myself to do that. But perhaps some of you gentlemen who may know about weathering and can give me some confidence in it, I'd love to learn how to do that.
Great.
Standing up? Okay, you show me how to use a 4-inch paintbrush and I'll take care of it, okay?
Oh man, it's easier than you think.
I don't know, but I would love to learn how to do that.
Easy with him, it's not like.
That's usually the case.
Plus, the people at IPMS, there's a lot of them that really get off on the plastic weathering. So maybe you go to this.
Oh, okay.
Go to this IPMS in Richmond. Catch a lot.
I'm planning on going to that. I've never been there before, so I'm sure it's very interesting. An opportunity to learn some things. I got a lot to learn.
Me too. Me too.
You have questions?
So while we went to Jack Bobbitt, reminded me that in addition to the model gallery, flagship, Joe Query some years ago. You might want to stop by and take a look at that. Just out of the ship. We can model shop. And it is a good example of Joe Query's work.
Next, Lee Bennett, that's where I started with last month. And last month I just had the whole put together. So working on it now, I started up with the centerboard tunnel and plans, say this for plank dimensions. There's no section that tells you anything about plank dimension. I didn't want to use up a lot of the wood that was already in that maybe needed something else. So I found my wood piles, planks that laid out on the plans real good. So I went with what I had. But the keelson at that point is going through transition, so you can't start with a straight plank. And so to get around that, I tried to bend one. I bent one that worked out pretty good, but then each one got wood bent, so the whole thing. Then I saw something that says the first plank is wider. I was thinking wider this way, so I found a wider piece, took what I had bent, take that on there, and cut that belly in it, and then it sat on the keelson pretty good, and then I was able to come up straight the rest of the way. But as far as installing the centerboard, that doesn't come up in the project until after the decking is on. And if you wait until then, you can't get to the pivot pin, and you can't put the cap on it, especially even after you get the deck beams on, you can't do that. So I went ahead and finished installing all of that. The next thing up was getting the bulkheads for the cargo hole there. And I decided to go ahead and plank that, even though nobody's ever going to see it. But there's a few reasons. One is practice, trying to prove my skills there. So I figured out the dimensions and come up with a planking plan for that.
You know it's there.
And I know it's there. And also, this model, I'm taking pictures as I go because this is going to be a gift. So when I'm done, I'm going to put a picture book together like Shutterfly or something. So along with the books, you'll get the pictures about how it was built. So somebody else might see it at some point. But then the next thing was the deck beams. Plans say all the deck beams should be an 1/8 by an 1/8. But you have to do the contour on them for the deck counter. Deck camber. And you're not going to be able to camber anything with an 1/8" piece. But the materials list says all the deck beams are 1/4 by an 1/8. It's a lot more sense. You're able to put a camber on those and right along the side it. Like cool. So that whole boat's got on. They're pretty well, and one thing that I was really impressed with the transit business here. That's stiff there. It's what sets the camber and the height of the deck beams. That comes in way early in the project. So when it came to putting in the deck beams, I was a little concerned if it was really going to line up that first piece there. And after I got the first couple of deck beams in, I was surprised it was real close to lining up. That way. And the rest of it was fairing, like having the fair hull. It came out pretty good. I'm sure when I start putting decking in, I'm going to have some low spots, deal with high spots, but go back over it some more. So that's pretty much all of that. And so this leads me to a question. So there's a line here that goes up to the deck house. This is what controls the centerboard, which is fine. It says the line 1/4 of an inch. So at a 3/8 scale, model is how do I convert the 3/4 inch line to model scale line and it's different dimensions there. Yeah, well, I was curious. I just took I had two sizes of lines, so I took the thicker one. Went with that. and I'm gonna have to find another source for mine. Crap, and I've got some stuff left over from other miles. I'm just curious. I think that's it for this time.
What else? All right, I brought in my, which I had promoted. I had asked. There's some weird appear with I went not weird, so it's not gradual. What kind of music did you say? Really? Yeah. That expensive.
And we've lost the sound.
Lost the sound?
Yes.
Here? All right. I'll just speak up. I just- Anyway, this is a project that I've been whittling on for a couple of years, and it's finally complete. I'll just kind of take a quick view. I have some other photographs which I can share that highlight some of the more detailed sections that may not be accessible. But it turned out fairly well.
Did you say a couple?
Yeah, this was my COVID project. Actually, no. The hull is built up with frames, and then sheathed with basswood, and then fiberglass on top of that. Oh, yes, I do. It's quarter-inch scale.
That's an incredible
And
model.
of course,
That's a beautiful model.
it's back here.
You fashion the sailors?
No, actually, the sailors are 3D printed dummies. I got from Shapeways. And come in multiple those. There's no end to variety of how you want to make it. But anyways, this is I'll show the other photographs more for the benefit of those online because you're not going to be able to appreciate some of the close-ups. Like
He's amazing, amazing.
Beautiful model.
I'll be taking it up to Richmond. Yeah. I'm sorry, what? Yes, the whole mast is all brass, all the way up into our mast. I do a lot of brass work. A lot of the superstructure is made of brass bulkheads over a wood form. So you have to see it. And although you can't see it, the area of the 5-inch weathering. I use the combination of washes, mostly powders, and dry brushing. I use for that. And I tried to, crashed the camera here. Tried to keep it subtle so that so it would be overdone. And in the case of weathering, really, less is more. So let me just for a moment.
So Gene, you think you'll bring that to ModelCon?
See those? Y'all hear us? Glenn?
Oh, now I can hear you. Before we couldn't hear anything.
Okay, all right. Yeah, this
Now
is
we can hear
a
you fine.
speaker system that. Yeah, I know because I'm sitting on the mic. All right. Let me just navigate to a couple of pictures here, and then go. Yeah, I know. It was somewhere. Yeah, I know, but I got to get rid of this big screen first. How do I get rid of the full screen? Okay, over here somewhere. It's not in this window. Move this window out of the way. Click on it. Okay. Okay, here we go. You got to hit share screen. Go. All right, now we got it. All righty, here. Can you see this online?
Yes.
You guys? Okay, very good. All right, just a couple of close up pictures of the
Hold
bridge
on, we
area.
can't. I can't see the photos. Are they showing?
Let me.
We see the meeting room.
All right, good. I'm glad I'm the.
Okay, the meeting room. I got it. Okay, hang on. Technical issues.
There we go. Now we can see it. Ta-da!
You see it?
In all its glory.
Okay, you got the full. Okay, very good. All righty. There's kind of a close up of the bridge, the chart table, and so forth. In this particular picture, as I said, I think a couple of meetings ago, so I had taken some images from the web that depicted the Ulithi Island docking charts and reduced them. So I figured that that's where they were headed. So he's looking up their anchorage to be able to relay. And a couple of dudes here on the side. There's the torpedo tubes and so forth. Now, as I said before, the figures are 3D printed. The torpedo tube, for the most part, was also 3D printed. I did supplement it with some details, the sights and instruments and things of that nature. So that really saved a lot of work. And I wasn't really sure how to depict the 26-foot boat, so I just filled it up with stuff that I figured might be seen in a boat like that. So it's just full of stuff.
How long is that boat right there?
This is probably, it's maybe, 8 inches maybe? Yeah, it's 1/4 inch to the foot.
It's 100 times larger there.
Yes.
Your boat, a destroyer or
A destroyer escort. Yeah. Actually, the history of the boat is that this was my father-in-law's ship during the war. And this is actually him depicted on the bridge. So and we have a photograph at home that kind of illustrates this same pose. He's sitting there with his arm over it. So I figured, why not?
he wasn't the skipper. He was an assistant. He was a junior officer. He lived down in the engine room. But that was the ship that he was stationed on.
Can I ask a question about your 3D figures?
Yes.
The subjects, where, you said you went to Shapeways. Where did you come up with the subjects? I mean, you didn't design those, did you, or did you?
Well, these are all pre-designed, ready to purchase figures in a variety of scales. You just, I think they came from an artist called, I think he goes by the name Holden, perhaps. I would have to look
They're
it up.
on the,
But he has.
they're in the catalog on the 3D website, on their website?
Yes, on Shapeways. You go to Shapeways, you just search Navy figures, pick a scale, and they'll usually pick up a show an artist that's got a lot of figures already pre-designed. And these are CAD experts. I mean, there's figures, different eras, different configurations. You can get this whole set in battle gear with helmets and K-pop. So, you know, there's a whole variety.
And you modified
No.
some?
You
Did
have
you modify some of them?
a couple of them I did, minor modifications. If their arms didn't really fit the pose, I wanted them, you know, I'd like cut them off and, you know, rotate them around or something a little bit. But for the large part, they're pretty much as they came. And they're acrylic, so they're fairly fragile, but you know, in this scale, are robust enough to handle and paint and move about. And they're solid. The larger scales, well, sometimes will come hollow to save in acrylic because acrylic's expensive and the prices can get pretty exorbitant. But these guys worked out for me, and yeah, if you want Royal Navy, you want period ships, you want pirates. I mean, you know, just about anything you want. Just get on Shapeways and lose an afternoon looking through stuff.
Thank you.
Now the base made up pretty much just plywood, simple with trim glued around the edge. I then just painted the with polyurethane, just a polygloss, had a mirror configured and installed. There we go. And I had the holes cut in them so that the pedestals go through the mirror and mount to the wood. So there's no pressure on the mirror itself. It's just free floating essentially. And that gives a nice, a different effect, a different way to display a model. And that's pretty much where it's going to live now in my house. The label, these ribbons were from my father-in-law's uniform, so I figured I might as well put them on there. This was a launching pin that was distributed around during the launching time, so a couple of artifacts to go along with the boat. And there's my gallery. And not one to waste much time, I pivoted right to the Olympia. You've heard of this boat before. I've on and off with this one a few years. In fact, I put it aside, bagged it up, built the DE because I got tired of building little boats and things. Well, the irony is those little boats are still waiting to be built. And this is how I went about it. I talked with John, and he suggested that using waterline lifts was the best way to do it for something like that. So that's what I did. Copied out the lifts in the scale I needed, cut them out. In this case, all the lifts were 1/8 inch high, so it was perfect. I just used stock basswood 1/8 inch sheets. Did a little bit of pre-cutting between the lines to give a basic shape to each lift. And when you stack them up, the boat almost builds itself at this point. You can start to see the rough shape. And then from there, it's just a matter of gluing them all together, indexed in with a pin, and just commence to whittling. This, in fact, is one of the steam launches which will be on board. And what I intended to do was to build, since the Olympia has it's got 100 million boats on board. It's just too many to build individually. So after looking at the models, the different size launches, because they nested them and stacked them up on deck, they basically were the same shape, just a slightly smaller version. So they could nest and be stacked up. So what I did was take the largest of the style of boat, whether it's a launch or a cutter or so forth, and then from that I will make a mold. This is the pattern, and I have these on the table here. And I'll make a mold of this and then cast it multiple times. And I'll take each subsequent casting and modify it slightly to fit a smaller launch, whether it's a 28-foot or a 26-foot. It's just a matter of cutting down the pattern a little bit or the casting that I have, maybe reshape the hull a little bit if need be. And then I've got a new pattern to make another mold. And then from that mold, I'll use this. I don't know if you're familiar with slip casting. It's where you pour a slurry into a mold, kind of rotate it around the coat the inside, and then when it comes out, it's a shell. It's hollow, and that's what I'll do. So I'll end up with just a shell of the boat, and then I'll be able to build the individual interiors with the frames and decking and so forth, without having to actually build each boat from scratch. I will not do. So that's it for me. And let me get out of this share. Oh, there it is. Stop share. Your share. Stop share. Oh, stop share. There we go. Alrighty. Unless there's any other questions, we'll take a couple of moments and get set up for a presentation. John's going to do a talk on culling impressions, I believe. All right, so why don't we take a few, and then we'll be back in 5 or 10. Okay? And I hope those online were able to hear me clearly. We're going to have to sort out the microphone situation a little bit here for future casts.
I didn't hear your answer on model comp.
Oh, I'm sorry. I completely sidestepped that, didn't I? I'm not really sure right now. I would think that I would like to come up, and it's a definite possibility.
Okay.
But I can't commit right now. I got to check my schedule and so forth, and that's the one on the Jersey, correct?
Yeah, first Saturday in August is the regular date.
In August.
So August 6th.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of time to discuss and scheme. I appreciate the invite, and I'll definitely do so.
I'm trying to pencil everyone's calendar early.
Oh, okay. Great. All right. Well, I'm gonna put down the mic here for a moment, and then we'll get right back to you.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
What is it?
We'll see how it goes. A little different.
Yeah.
How I built. He's a hard act to follow.
Boy, is he a hard act to follow.
Anyway.
That's okay. Okay, give us one.
All right, yeah, I got you now. Right here.
What?
I'm not first. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we COVID, we really
Yeah, the speaker seems to work fine. The mic isn't picking up as clearly as I think we want it to. Maybe we need to either rethink. Yeah. I mean, when we tested it, it was quiet. You know, there wasn't chatter in the background and stuff. I don't know. I'll tell Greg. See how it works. Maybe we need something. But I got the volume up all the way. And one compromise to the speaker is to plug in an amplifier because it really wasn't loud enough otherwise. Yeah, that may not be the answer. That's a speaker and mic. Yeah. Yeah. Not really, because they have a system already up here for a speaker. We just need a decent mic. Yeah. And we need the designated cameraman. Okay, and
Quick question. You just mentioned how you make those boats.
Yeah. Oh, like a slip mold. Slip mold. Yeah, you know, they for making pottery and stuff. They'll pour slip into a pot or into a mold, and then it rotates around and it coats the inside, and then when it hardens, they take and bake it. And that's essentially the same. I've used that technique on other parts of the boat where I need a shape, but I want it to fall. So in this case, what I'll take the resin and hold it inside. I don't need a solid. Maybe the top one will be solid, so I can but the stack, I want to put all the frames and materials in the shell. It's pretty flimsy at first, but once you start putting the infrastructure into it, it's rigid. Oh yeah. Well, it depends on how thick you let it coat.
You ever serve on one of these ships?
Have I? No, I was in the Army.
I went 10 camps there.
Okay.
20 years old. My first ship was the Rich, 8820. And I gotta tell you, people don't really understand what life is like on these ships until they see something like this.
This was a tiny boat.
Yeah.
I mean, half the time it's in the air and the other half is underwater.
Oh, I was on a cruise with Josephus Daniels, CT-27. And we hit a storm right off the coast of North Carolina, 55-foot seas. We were taking green water over the bridge.
Oh, I would not.
And we're coming out, the valve had the 26 sonar down there. It was completely out of the water, kept overpressurized as it was now. Both screws back out, completely out of the water.
It's surprising.
We started off with 4 boards on line, water level.
All right. Yeah. Oh no, that could not have been an easy ride.
And from the vertical, we rotated 53 degrees. Vertical, you kept going at 60.
Yeah.
You could feel a shuddering. Like I'm not sure I want to come back up right.
Yeah.
Come back and slam on the other side.
Yeah.
And let me.
Hey, Tom, Joe here.
Hit share. Hit this.
Later.
And it just maximizes it. should be sent. You can get rid of that, push that off to the side or something, or get it out of there. Oops.
How do you do? Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Will that work for you?
Yeah.
Then I think
As long as
you
they
should
can
be
hear
able
me,
to.
and then just.
Well, they should be able to hear you from there because I put the speaker right there.
All right. I'll try my best.
May I ask this, have you ever built the Charles German Morgan?
Nope.
For somebody?
There's a lot of bend all that well. I would that's not Ben's thing.
Okay, I was gonna say, I've got.
When I finally, I met, there's a lot of wood doors.
Some of the other guys would.
Up on the deck, separates the deck.
I am amazed. Morgan's my first ship was built. So it's,
I just used to see how it goes.
And so the first couple of or you walk away from them, No, I work in shooting. My background is in
I remember this stuff. A lot of people here that are of our age, but, I wrote it out to sea.
All right.
After 20 years of C, I did 25 more teaching. Now I'm retired. Yeah. Yeah, I'm always there.
Can you tell me about
One of the kids who starts stealing all the spatulas anyway.
I saw you some time ago.
It's guys that go about stuff.
Yeah.
See us back together.
That's, yeah.
You're paid through the 20, you paid through the end of this month. This next month, you have $24.
We got 5 months.
Website. And asked me to.
Okay.
I got a page and I've got five.
You want to say? Okay. There you go. Here we go.
Anyway, this couple came with a family heirloom. Tops of our masts. It's actually over at Harriet Lee was her first firearms style. Wheeler and sales. Anyway, they're all the masts. So I fixed the thing, took me about a day. And I had to do some squeezing because I didn't want to break the thing. $50. So for $50, everything's going to go to the museum. I love the museum. But in the meantime, I've got to carry around cash. So that's for that one.
This is, it was in the shop. It was donated.
The day came in, Baker, got it. Yeah, and they brought it in.
All right, we can all have a seat there.
What are we gonna do with it up here?
They were,
All righty, we're going to get ready to have the presentation now. So for those of you online and everyone else, have a seat.
Where's the mic at?
The mic's right here.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to work on that. All right, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to try and get through this. Gene, I need just a little light on me. Perfect. Perfect. All right, we'll try to get through this and we'll see how it goes.
I've got some brass tubing and some paint. Anybody wants it, please get, take home.
All right.
Check to see if the online can hear you.
Are you guys online? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
I can.
Yeah, perfect. No worries.
Okay. All right. And you can see it, right? And you see the screen?
I can see I don't think it sends the right vibe cartoon.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're set. Good. That's my shameless plug for the day. Anybody spot it? Not the Bill Abbott part.
The Who Day. My shameless plug. All right. We're going to start off with the next slide. It's got a little bit of an audio component to it. So just, if you would, just enjoy it. I thought I'd give you all a little taste of what I consider to be some nice, really nice ship models. And because we're going to talk about today, I can work this thing right, is yeah, some people remember what that's all about. Today I want to talk about creating a compelling impression. Right? The idea for this came from Rylan, of all people. Rylan cornered me one day and says, "I'd like you to give a talk on what constitutes a nice ship model." To think about that. And kind of what I came up with was that what I consider to be a good ship model is more on the artsy side of the equation than maybe the engineering or the design side of the equation. That's a fair way to look at it. If you look up in the dictionary, or even on the internet, characteristics that make great artworks. They say it's composition, color, subject matter, all working in harmony or harmoniously. So, compelling impression. Compelling. It's an adjective. It evokes interest, attention, or admiration in a powerfully irresistible way. We saw a little bit of a show and tell, probably, that did that to us. His eyes were strangely compelling. Right? There's something about what the person sees draws them in. Again, what makes the great art? Composition, color, subject matter, all working in harmony. And this is from a fellow that's never taken an art class. How does it relate to ship models? You guys may have heard of a fellow named Bob Napier. I'm going to quote next. I believe it should be attributed to Rob Napier, maybe to Bruce Hoffman, but it's Bob Napier, because that's fire. Napier said, the ship model should strive to convey a compelling impression of an actual vessel within the confines of historical accuracy. And he went on. Said a ship model should entice the viewer to look closer and then reward them for the effort. That happened with me show and tell today. Okay, so let's look at an example. See what happens. Here we have a nice, very nice ship model. It's laid out well. It's painted well. It's assembled well. Things look really nice on it. Does it give us an impression? Right? Let's look closer and see what happens. Look a little closer. You're rewarded for the effort. Now you see, it's hinted at earlier, from a longer distance away, you see a nice 6-cylinder Fairbanks Morse diesel, the St. Mary's air compressor, things like that. So this model, in my opinion, would be a compelling impression. What is there? So from that, we see that the eye is the key. A lot of what, or almost all of what you experience someone's ship model is visual. All right? I'll read it to you. It's behind the model. The point is that a beautiful boat expresses an evocative nod towards something that gives us pleasure. A culture or historical association, for example, or abstract impressions such as speed, grace, or relationship to forms of the natural world. A fellow named Lawrence G. wrote that. Like I say, it's all about the eye, the all-seeing eye. The eye will reveal all. Shakespeare wrote, the mind sees all, but the mind shows us what we want to see. It really should be the eye. The eye is the mind. All right, and then there's more to Cheek's theory. Back up. This is what at the deepest level makes a boat beautiful. There are obvious qualities: elegant proportion, sweetness of line, harmonious detailing, good finishes. Composition, color, subject matter, all work. Okay. Another example. Let's see what happens with this one. Anybody recognize the boat? a schooner. Halifax. What's the way with Halifax? A little schooner Halifax. I like this model. I met the fellow that built it, and I like the model. And from this distance, it's passing all the best exterior, major exterior go out there for me. But what happens when we get closer? Right? Same thing. We get closer. Does it reward us? Does it hold up? Anybody hazard anything? You want to look closer? I'll be honest with you. At this distance, there were some things that I think started to fail me. Fail my impression of the model. I'm not knocking the guy because I think it's one hell of a good model. But on closer examination, you see what I think, now this is debatable, but I think these tree nails are overscaled. Okay? I think the edge of the combing right here shouldn't have these ragged ends of the boards. I don't remember slats or foam. I guess they're slats. That should go away. The 8-sided windlass is not proportional all the way around. It's a small thing. You have to have some serious paws on you, I think, to handle these oars. And then finally, the most telling thing is the single piece hard pull. Right? Like I say, great model, but didn't stand in those screws. Okay. So, means a lot of what you're seeing is all about perception. Perception is defined as the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. And ship models, it's a visual experience. Let's look at some examples. Okay, example number 1. Sees a penguin. Go ahead. Sees a penguin. Sees a man with a pompadour. Okay, it's what the artist wanted you to see. How it was used. Okay? Another example. Sees a man playing saxophone. Here's a rich Tom. Yes. Right? Who sees the lady's face? See it now? Right? Down in the bottom, you see where it's called art in the negative space. It's the art of getting you to see what the artist wants you to see. Final example. Okay? Who sees the flip-flops? Who sees the Coke bottle? That to me is probably one of the best examples of using this type of art to convey the message you want to convey. Because if that doesn't make you want to go grab a Coke and go get on the beach, probably nothing will. That's an excellent example of the eye tricking the mind to what you want to see. And that's that state of mind. State of mind. Modeling for a compelling impression, I think you need to have balance, zen, chi, harmony, whatever it is that puts you in the zone, allows you to create the parts that make a compelling impression of the model. Right. Now that you've focused right, your mind's right, you want to go make that model. I got to tell you, what did it take you, Gene? 2 years? Yeah. Okay. 2 years. You're retired. You were locked down. All that fun stuff, right? So if that model right there would probably take me 10. Some people may not finish, but state of mind, but building a model, in my mind, is a journey, a long journey. But build the model, you got to tell yourself you can take that journey. The journey is going to be full of challenges, pitfalls, failures, and
sidetracks, sidelines, a lot of things are going to jump the path. But if you take the journey, you also will experience success, reward, sense of accomplishment. Am I right? Yeah. So it's a journey, but it's a complicated journey. It's not a straight line. So complicated. It requires you to go down a lot of paths, learn a lot of skills, okay? Get a lot of ideas from people, practice. Stuff works, stuff doesn't work, all that sort of thing. But if you want to do it right, you need to learn these skills. You need to apply these skills. And above all, you gotta get her done. You cannot study it to death. You can't dream about it forever. You can't tell the story about what you're planning to do and all that. You have to get off top dead center. You've got to start somewhere. And I like to say, you start, you're going to make mistakes. Okay? Those are learning experiences, opportunities to grow in this hobby. So embrace the mistakes. Okay? Don't get frustrated. Don't give up. Learn from the mistake. Talk to people. Try different methods. Rewarded for it. Okay. And but like I say, you have to get started. What Bill Clark used to say, somewhere along the line, you've got to make chips from dust. You got to do it. And to help you get there, you're going to need a support system, like the Hampton Road Ship Model Society, the New Jersey Ship Model Society. What's the one in Philadelphia called? Philadelphia Ship Model Society. All right, you need that support. They will help you with advice, tips, assistance, the shoulder to cry on. Okay, they'll get you away when you need to get away. Reset that mind. We were talking about it earlier. The guidance is there. You need that support system. So now that you're ready to start, you got your support system in place. Here's some tips. Here's some tips that help you make that compelling impression. I know you guys have been waiting for tips because up to this point there weren't tips, right? So here's some tips. Be unique. Okay? A lot of guys are going to build the same model you're building. You want to make yours unique for you. Bruce brought in the American today. Bruce made the American unique for Bruce by fixing onto the mainsail the America's Cup symbol. That makes it unique because there's a lot of Americans out there. All right, that makes it unique. James D.E. is unique because what's his name? The guy, Maryland Stan. Bob. Because Bob is on the bridge. And I don't know if you've noticed the boat from the other side. Bob's the only one I think up there with a sidearm. I wonder what that means. But it's unique. And of course, there's the Gene signature on there. The fella's on the mantail holding the model of the model. That makes it unique. Me, I use hot dogs as an example. I think Coney is the way to go. But who day, right? Unique. Right size your model. I love that picture. I love that look on Tom's face. Right size it. We all don't have that private gallery that we need. This is a little poke. I have a theory in my mind, and I think that if you're building a model of a large ship, then you don't want to go too small. If you're building a model of a small ship or boat, you don't want to go too big. I think there's inherent difficulties and problems associated with either way. So you want to right size your model.
size it for space you have or what its intended purpose is or something, or to fit the trailer you travel in. Yes, I am. So you want to right size your model. You say, Tom, sorely lacking in tequila. All right. You build your model. You want to use purposeful materials. Well, I like to call it appropriate. There are woods that you need to use. We had a nice discussion. Shelly slipped out. There are woods to use at the right time. Woods don't scale. You scale down a wood, or it doesn't scale. It stays big. So you need to find a substitute wood that probably has the same color. Somewhat, I guess, doesn't find you want to use purpose, right kind of wood at the right time. You want to use materials that are long-lived, long-lasting. You want to use glues, the right kind of glues when you use glue. Paint. Painting is not, so paint is done at about face 40 years ago. I started out, everyone was using Flowquill, some form of lacquers. And now they've kind of gone away, and at the time, acrylic were starting to come in. Acrylic paint back then was not color fast. Shift on it. Now, lacquers are kind of out. Always still have a stash. And acrylics are in. Which are color fast now. And very, very earth friendly, person friendly, that sort of thing. But you want to use the right kind of material for the model you're using. I like to say that I follow the guidelines here. This is the NAVC guide specifications for building exhibition ship models. Okay. I will admit it's dated. It doesn't take in a lot of the new material. But the material that they ask you to build their models for in here will stand the test of time. It's largely wood, brass. They don't advocate plastic. They don't advocate a few other things. Times are changing. I think museums, in a lot of ways, are changing to adapt to that as well. At the time, they would only take models built largely to these specifications. If you want those specifications, you can Google it online. It comes out to PDF. Appropriate materials. If your hull's made of walnut, you don't want to make a hull out of a walnut shell. Right? Speed. He built his model in 2 years. It would take 10. Still not done. But the point is, it's not a race. You're going to go at your pace, handle the skills you develop at your pace, do what you do at your pace, or satisfy the free time you have. Don't rush to finish. Go at your pace. Accuracy counts. All right, clean this one up a bit for you, Ron. Speaking of one night stand, hey, accuracy counts. What do you think the guy means here? I don't know. I mean, is he looking for a little one night tryst? Is there something else this guy wants? His accuracy counts. Put a comma right there, right? Or not a comma, excuse me. Take the space out. Okay. Possibly 2 because I have 2 lamps. Accuracy counts. All right. Focus. You need to keep your eye on the ball. You're up on your model. Not the picture that's so much as important. It's that ball coming at you. You want to hit it. Your eye on the ball. Stay focused on your model. You need to back up. This
Balance. I like this one. Everything on your model should be in proportion. You don't want to over detail some aspects of your model and under detail other aspects of your model. You need to pick a level of detail for that model and stick with it throughout the model. That's what I mean by balance. Tell a story. Built a model one time on commission, and I built it. This guidance, just incidentally, I built it the same way that big ships are built out here in the Great Holstein. Never intended to do anything other than to deliver it and have it on display. Got an opportunity to enter the ship model contest. One of the contests here. I entered it. Why not? Entered it. No idea and no preconceived notion that I was going to make a gold, silver, or a bronze. I didn't. What I really wanted was the judges' comments. They were telling on the balance side of the equation. It says right, they said the overly detailed deck contrasted with the lack of texture on the hull and bulkhead. True statement, okay? The model was not built to represent all that, but that was a true statement, something I've taken to heart. And as I've progressed over the years, I've tried to add texture to the hull, texture to the bulkhead, like that. And then you take a look at Gene's model, see that's where it is. So I did that, and I learned from that it was a lack of balance. The other thing they said, because there was an eagle atop the pilot house, and I'm not the world's best carver, but they said that was one well-fed bird. So, got me. All right, reflection. All right, this is not a slide about introspection or searching your mind to see what you did wrong. This is really about symmetry. Most ship models, or most ships that I know, have hulls, with probably the exception of the Venetian gondola, have hulls that are symmetrical. The same port starboard, just opposite hand. Symmetry is very important in the model. I was looking for symmetry this morning, or asymmetry this morning. So, symmetry, things on both sides of the ship, they should be opposite hand, but they should be the same. Neatness. There you go. Make sure the stuff that you put on your model level, square, parallel, equidistant, fair, consistent. Okay? If you have things following the shear line on your model, that shear line should carry through on other decks that have shear, that sort of thing. They should be consistent. And if they're not, that all CNI picks that up. Right now, then you're going to tell yourself that's not as compelling a model as I thought it was. Neatness, square and parallel. That model is yes. Are the rudder is different? All sorts of things. Neatness counts. Check that alignment. Consistency. Consistency is more important than perfection. Okay. Reach a level of detail, good enough. Good enough for what you do. If you want to work forever on one model, put every nut and bolt and stuff like that in it, fine. But then you lock yourself into that level of consistency. Right. Got a slide here. It's not Sean's work, but it probably should be Sean. John showed us a lathe duplicating attachment several months ago because he wanted to turn the cannon on his model on brass. Okay? In order to be consistent, he needed to build tooling with the jig, or mold, look at Gene's on both, have some consistency throughout. When you duplicate something on the model, they need to be the same. Quality. Old shipyard saying, when in doubt, throw it out. Okay. Don't be discouraged if the thing you make get to the end and it goes south on you. Awesome. Make another one. Okay. Don't put that rotten apple on your bottom. All right. And spotting, what does it say? Spotting bad content isn't as hard as you think. Because if you don't see it, someone else will. So they're looking for that compelling impression. All right, detail. Add the appropriate amount of detail for the scale that you're building in. Like I said, if you're building a large model, a model of a large ship, you don't want to go too small because you get to the point where you can't add the detail where you work yourself to death. If you're building a large model, let's say of, we had skipjack back here, right? I see 3-foot skipjack models and the level of detail's not there for a 3-foot skipjack model. But if you build it 1 foot, you don't have to show all the gallheads maybe bumps or something like that. Or the poured up edge of a board, that sort of thing. So detail, pay attention to the detail. And so you're on the model, you can add figures, period items, flip coils, buckets, things that are used in the everyday use of the ship. That level of detail will help your model, I think, tremendously in conveying the message you want to convey. The next slide here shows an enormous amount of detail. I call them, and it's under the heading realism. You want to model to the point where somebody thinks it's a photo of a real ship. Maybe it is a photo of a real ship. We know that for sure. Let's look at another one. Is this the photo of a real ship or photo of a model? It's like eye test, right? Is it this one? Or is it this one? All right, show of hands. Which one do you think is the photo of the real ship? Okay. Then what is this? It's actually a photo taken of that DE right there. But I'll tell you something. If you saw it by yourself, you didn't have the other one. That looks like the Apache like me. Look at what he's got on. He's got weld seams. Or got your flanges and your pipe connections. You got nice ladders, structuring overhead. So sure, not riveted flange here, but okay. I like that. And to me, that's a level of realism to allow you to get that compelling impression. Let's move on a little bit. Finish. You give your model support. Get a complementary color palette. There's an article in this issue of Article Research Journal from December of 1991. All right. The reprints of this article, I believe you can find a multiple, actually, written by Eric Ronberg Jr. He talks about painting your model, researching the colors, getting a complementary color palette. What he's really doing there is the same thing you do when you go paint rooms in your house. You pick colors at the paint store out of the same family because they have the same base. They all go together well. So you want to do that. You want a complementary color palette. You want the appropriate level of sheen and texture with that finish. The old argument, I guess it is an old argument now, is in this country we tend to finish ship models more flatter in color, and in England it's high gloss. I'm not mistaken. I see a head shaking yes. And it's the style, okay? But as long as it's all done that way, fine. Appropriate level of sheen and texture. Colors that balance, you want crisp paint edges. Aping is your friend. Aping is your friend. You don't want to show blue spots, smears, frayed, untrimmed lines on your rigging. Nothing out of square pieces where they're supposed to be. The finish is very important on a model. One of the hardest things I think to do is probably hide the glue, right? Is it dull coat? You take the sheet off the glue and hide a lot of super glue where it sort of fogs out on you and settles. And finish is important. You want to display your model. I call it evocative arrangement. You want to display it in such a way that conveys a message. Right? There's no right or wrong here. I chose this one because I like the water. And anyone's not familiar with this, this is one of Alan Fraser's models. And Alan was an important member to this club, and an important member to the New Jersey club. An excellent ship operator. Very good at story. But you want to arrange your model in such a way that it conveys this. Now, I touched on this earlier. One thing you can do for your model to find out whether it's actually giving a compelling impression is to get some provenance on it. Enter it in a ship model contest. Take your beating, okay? Or accept the criticism. And it's really not criticism. It's comments to make your better model. Really, okay? Read the comments, learn from them, okay? And then practice it on your next model. Those guys aren't judges. No reason. They're looking for. And then I want to be humble about it. You're not the expert. I'm daggone sure not the expert. I know things that I like to do, and I know stuff that I like to model, how I like to model, but I'm not the expert. Be humble. But share your knowledge. Get up there and talk about it. He's talking about Santa something. What is it? I'm wearing a Santa hat because I was supposed to give this talk in December. And then finally, to take you all out of your misery, relax. It's the hobby. Get all teed up and yourself into a frenzy. It's just a hobby. So, are there any questions? Thank you. Wait a minute. We have a question. We have a question. I think I didn't mention any company. All I said was I think that the paints have shifted from lacquer-based paints to acrylics, and that was all I said because I think that because of the environment and various things, they had to get the volatiles out of the paint, and I don't think the lacquer-based stuff was as good for modeling after. And so the acrylics have come on strong. And I've used them a little bit, and I'm real happy. And then they clean up with water. Okay, Vallejo? Okay. Initially when I was talking about modeling paint, I mentioned Flowquill, which was the standard, and all the railroad guys used it. You could get all the railroad colors mixed to the line specification. In that order. Right. Right. I want to tell you, if she's got a good eye, she's going to have to help me because I don't have an eye for shape. I don't. But yes, you're right. The old standard was lacquer. You could put a can enamel on lacquer. You could put acrylic over both of them. But you could not put lacquer over anything because it eats right through. It's just the way that it sets itself up. Solvent that's in it. Yes. I remember when the shipyard was building the double eagle tankers years ago. The specification for paint was something that we weren't familiar with. The paint that we used, and they weren't, I guess, that well versed on how to apply it. So they painted the tankers, and then the paint came off in sheets. Sheets. Yeah, it was a real learning curve for us. So, I think they were outside the boundaries. Yeah. Well, you say we learned. So when in doubt, we threw it out and we started over. Got it right. That's all I have. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. All righty. Yeah, stop that. And for those of you online, this concludes the show and the meeting. And we look forward to seeing you all next month.
Thank you.
Hopefully with Greg in charge.
Be well, folks. Have a good day.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for doing it online.
Any questions? Nope. I see people are logging off.
I think that maybe he was.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got to stop recording here.
No, the last picture that you.
And how do I do that?